Good morning. This is probably impossible for me, but I'll have a go at it. It's around Vancouver in Canada, sent to me by a friend on Facebook, well, friend. He lives there and sends me photographs, and some I get by email, others on Facebook now. And this is so beautiful, but really it's essentially a sunset or sunrise. I'm not sure. And I don't know what part of Vancouver this is, how near the city, but it's very lovely. So I'm going to have a go at it in wet in wet. It's a bit cooler today, so maybe the paper won't dry out quite so quick. But I'll just have to have a stab at it and see what I make of it. If it's too bad, of course you won't see it. Right, here we go. I'll bring you up to my board. I'll just zoom out a bit. There we are, that seems to be okay. I'll just enlarge it a little bit. That'll do. Right, Fabriano, £130. Bought from Art Discount in blocks of 100. I don't get anything for saying that. But it's a good paper for wet in wet. Palette, lemon yellow, dirty lemon yellow. I'll give it a bit of a clean. Lemon yellow, raw sienna. All these are covered in hairs where the hake's been leaking its fur coat. Alizarin crimson, light red, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's grey, and burnt sienna. I leave them to dry on the palette. It's like a very big, well, it's like a paint box with very big palettes in, with palettes, pans. Try painting on from a large butcher's tray like this, where you can just squeeze out your colours and work straight from the tube before they go hard. That way you can get some really rich, juicy, luscious paint before you have to start scrubbing away at it. But this does work, and the palette itself was designed, with the exception of the burnt sienna, designed by Ron Ranson. But Edward Weston, well, they're pretty standard colours. No greens, you'll notice. I mix all my greens using Payne's grey or ultramarine with the burnt sienna, raw sienna, light lemon yellow and burnt umber, any combination of those colours, or even light red, ultramarine and lemon yellow. So I'll wet the paper. I've got a cup of tea on the go as well. Give it a good wet, let it soak in a little bit. As it soaks in, the paper expands and then you reclip it. That way you don't need to stretch the paper. Well, stretch, shrink. I used to do it with the cheaper, well, not cheaper paint, but the thinner papers are £140. £200, much more expensive, and for our use, you don't want anything as heavy or as good as that. We'll just go a little bit more over the top. The bottom's going to be the last to dry, but then everything's with gravity is going to fall down anyway. I've done a simple drawing just to show these distant headlands. I don't know how far the coast extends across that bay. I think that the landscape is slightly beyond, but it'd be difficult for me to show that. It's as large as I can get it. So, but there's just this sort of foreshore area here. It's lumpy grass and a bit of grass sticking up through the water there. So it's not sand, which doesn't look like sand. It looks like just grass sticking up in the foreground. So we'll do that. Right, let's use some ultramarine. No, I need to tint the paper first. Always have a bit of cloth to soak up the excess moisture from your hake. I'll put a wash of alizarin and lemon yellow. Not a lot, just to tint the lighter areas on the paper that go all the way across. Now we're going with a deepish ultramarine and quite dark. I'm working on another hake now because this one's losing hairs. So let's get this in. That's a bit of Payne's grey in with that mix, but plenty of ultramarine, bit of alizarin. Put that dark over there because that's coming down. And very light wash of, okay, some bit of that. Now we need some more of that intense colour at the top. Plenty of ultramarine, bit of Payne's grey in there. Just darken a little bit. Right, okay, that'll do. Now we're going to put in the lemon yellow and a bit of alizarin. Got a sort of an orangey yellow. And we've got some more alizarin coming in at the side here. More yellow. A cloud going over the top of that. Clean that off. Nice, okay, just blend that a little bit there. And then we've got in front of this here sort of a heavier cloud. I've probably come over too far with that bit of blue, or it's moved a bit too far over, never mind. So this is going to be a heavier mix of the blue and the alizarin. But it's quite dark. I'll have to put some Payne's grey to get it sort of dark that I want. Plenty of alizarin in it, but blue. So this is sort of a night cloud. That comes quite low, and it just sort of sits there. And there's more blue on the top of that. Blue there, a bit more blue in there. I'll just get that one there. Right, okay, that we'll see what happens to that. I'll reclip it now, because it doesn't help painting almost vertical, just so you can see, get a good camera angle. In due course I can get a decent webcam that it's got a widescreen but doesn't record in high definition. I'm loath to try to lift out some of that with the tissue, but let's try. Hey ho, bit of tissue. Highly experimental, this is for me. So let's just go under there with some of that. Soften it. That's on the photograph. That is quite a hard edge there, but this is much more lifted out. No, that's dried out a bit too much now. Right, okay, we'll let that go. Let's go in with some of that colour on the distance here. So bit of a peak on that one. Could put some trees on there in the distance. Don't want my horizon coming uphill. And same over here, but light, a bit lighter over here. So we come up here. Now the sea line, or the horizon, is quite dark across there, so it lends me to think that it's some sort of bridge, but I don't know. My mate Steve no doubt will tell me later when he sees this. I'll send him a still, if it works that is, I'll send him a still, and then he can fill in the details and tell me exactly where it is, and I can add it to the edit, on the edit. Getting a lot of that there. Right, I'll let that go there. I'll just bring that down a little bit. You get this lovely chisel edge with the hake. It's got a lot of qualities, the hake. Just get used to using it. I want that really nice and straight across there. Right, now a nice green in there. So a bit of yellow, a bit of Payne's grey, I think. Quite dark green, so I put a bit of burnt umber in there. Right, okay. very goes quite a way across there, but I've got an idea that's a bridge. Oops, I have to clean that up. It's really dark there. I've got to put in the sea. There are probably lots of buildings in there as well, but I can't make it out. So we just do this. Right, let that go. I can straighten that up a little bit when it's dry. Now, this is going to be the tricky bit. Now, I can sort of lift out some of that. Because that's quite light under there. Right, when that dries I'll get my bleach brush on it. Now I've got to do some dry brush on here, so ultramarine, bit of cyan, the alizarin crimson, bit of Payne's grey, and somehow I've got to do some sweeps across there. Now the paper's nice and flat. All quite faint now. Ultramarine in there. And there's some darker notes in here. Right under that cloud. These are the ripples, long, low. I flick it on my floor, but I've got a carpet on the carpet, so it's not going to make any difference. So right, by inch, we'll have a go at the landscape and the foreground. I mean, let's just clean that up a bit. And we'll put in a bit of darkish. Across here. There is stuff along here, but it's so far away that I can't see. So I'm just putting in some darker bits and pieces like the other side, just to don't want to lose that yellow yet. Right. Right, swig of tea. Now I'm going to put in this grass. I'm going to use burnt sienna, yellow, be nice and warm. And a bit of Payne's grey. Get that down there. See, the paper, it just about works on this paper with the dry brush, on my effort at it. It's not that rough. More grey, darker greens. I want the grasses to stick up there. Look, just the broken bits of the brush, but you don't want a regiment. All those little grasses. You could use fan brushes, all sorts, but I try to do as much as I can with the hake because it is such a fabulous brush. Because you get this randomness. Because you've never really got total control over it. Alright, let's get in some more warmer colours. And we can etch into that when it's wet. Let's have a bit of blue and a bit of red in there as well. Don't want too much of that white showing through here. Nice warm. Right, you need this dark if you're going to scratch out, otherwise the white won't show. If it's too much dry underpainting. This just effectively loosens some of that paint. We can even put even darker stuff on there. Right, where's the card? It's drying quite quickly. Right, that's it. Now I've got to put in some grasses in here, so I'll use my rigger for that. And it's going to be burnt sienna, ultramarine, burnt sienna. Plenty of water. I should scrape off some of these hairs. I mean, I've got enough hairs stuck to my paint to make another hake. Because I've not cleaned this place off, I don't think, since I started doing these demonstrations all those months ago. So Oh, that's quite passive water there. Right, let's see if I can put some of these. There's like a sort of a lot of ripples along there. Probably where we're on really shallow water here now. I don't think that's very strong. This isn't so dark, is it? I can't replicate the actual light in the sky. It's just about impossible. You can't get better than nature. But you can. Oops, there. Bit of a smudge there. I'll put some birds there, I think. Let's go with a bit of even darker stuff there, I think. No, I won't do any more than that. Let's put a signature on it, put it in the mount, see what it looks like. Let's just go with a signature there. Right, let's have a look. I do this because I've got a line drawn on my board coincident with the bottom of the paper. Well, when I put the mount on it, it just sits in the right place. But the thing, I've got to make sure the horizon's straight. Well, that's the best I can do at this stage. Let's bring you in more square now, so you can have a look yourself. Oops. I think that's pretty straight. That's hard to differentiate the cloud here with the landscape. The landscape is not. This is probably a bit too hard now I come to look at it. I could try and change. I'll move you over the way. I could try and change that a bit by wetting it a bit and blotting it out a bit, just reduce the intensity. A clean bit of paper. So let's just get some of that out. Right, I don't need to put a bit more yellow in there, so let's just go over that. Zoom. That's more just a bit blue on there. How's that? Have I improved it? No. I'll dry it off. I'll go over that head. These headlamps are a little darker. Oops. For that I'll use a small nylon mix. Right, let's I'll just push the shape of this here. Do the other side. And then I can just put in some bit of detail on there. I don't want to lose this line across there, that is so, well, it's important in the photograph. Alright, that's this. Now the green. Just shows some trees along here. Warm and sunny for the day, thunderstorms tonight. Well, let's have a look at that again, see what that looks like. I know I'm taking too long with these watercolours, but when you start putting detail in, it does eat up the time. Right, well that's not too bad. I'll let that go. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.